If you think the Chicago Bears are going to win Super Bowl 59, give me a hell yeah. All right. Well, that didn't go like I expected. Anyway, listen, the Chicago Bears are a much improved, vastly different team than they were last year while still maintaining a very stable core of players. And there's been a tremendous amount of upgrades. This team is ready to compete with the big teams in the NFL. Now, before I get deep into this and explain to you what my goal here is to let you know that the Chicago Bears are a playoff team. The Chicago Bears, in fact, in my opinion, are a 13-4 team waiting for that opportunity to prove on the field that they are as good as advertised. Now, will they win 13 games? Probably not. I mean, the odds are against them. However, I will along the way kind of tell you, and I'll show you in a few previous videos that, I've done this before and I've told you guys what would happen. Going back to the beginning of last season, I told you exactly what the Bears were going to do. And guess what? The Bears did exactly what I said they were going to do. And now they're going to do what I said again the next year because they're doing things right. And when you recognize that and when you see that, despite the fact that you might not like Matt Eberflus, you might not like the new quarterback, you might not like certain pieces, but you have to recognize the improvements that this team has made, and they are dramatic. Now, if you like this type of content, you know what to do. But let's get into it. All right, so guys, first things first, this is what the starting lineup is going to look like on the offense in 2024. Now, you might notice there's 12 men on the field, and the reason for 12 men on the field is because I don't know exactly which one of these are going to be the starting lineup. What I'm going to say at this point is I do think that we're going to go with a one back, one tight end, three receiver set. That seems the most likely. However, with talent such as Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, there's going to be a lot of two tight end sets. So this is the projected starting lineup. At this point, you might notice Coleman Shelton missing, but most likely Ryan Bates is that starter. Now, in the event something changes, such as Braxton Jones or Tevin Jenkins getting injured, moving on, whatever the case may be, there are some capable backups in Matt Pryor, Kiran Emagaji, rookie, but a real player. So I think that he's got some opportunity. Now, that being said, this is what the lineup is going to look like. And find me a team that is capable of stopping this sort of offense. And look, I want to say this. I don't think there are very many teams that are going to match up favorably with the Chicago Bears. And I'm going to show you the projected schedule. We don't have the full schedule yet, but we've started to get plenty of leaks. So I'm going to show you as much schedule as I possibly can to give you an idea. But, and I do want to add, right up here is a video on Rome Odunze. This is where I told you this was the guy that was going to be picked number 9 by the Chicago Bears. It was destiny. It was inevitable. So if you want to go watch that video, certainly go check that out. Did I call it? Yes. Did I mean to call it? Not really. I was just spitballing, if you will. But let's get back to it. So the offense very simply looks dynamic. If Caleb Williams is the talent that people are projecting him to be, then this is probably one of the premier offenses in the league. Now, will it be the best offense of the league or will it be a top 5 offense? Probably not exactly yet. There needs to be some time for this to develop. And during that time, by the way, I think Keenan Allen, by the way, is a rental. I don't think that he's going to be here longer than this season. I don't think that we're going to pay him as much as he wants to make. So he may hit the open market and we may only get one season with Keenan Allen. However, there's going to be the opportunity for Rome Odunze to learn what he needs to know to become that Z receiver or maybe even the X receiver, and DJ Moore move over to the Z position. So, and by the way, with teammates like Tyler Scott, who I think will have a nice move forward, then maybe, just maybe, this is, but for this year, for 2024, this is going to be a fantastic team. This is going to be a team that's going to light up the scoreboards in a way that you've rarely ever seen from the Chicago Bears. Even though they weren't very good at the time, I think the last time you saw an offense performing at this level might have been the earlier days of maybe Jay Cutler, who, by the way, the career leader in a lot of different statistical categories for the Chicago Bears, despite the fact that, look, we know Jay Cutler. But this Bears team has some opportunity. Now, let's look at the defense. The defense, a little bit of an outlier here. I'm a fan of DeMarcus Walker. I think DeMarcus Walker has been putting in the work to become an elite um, defensive end. Now, is he ever going to be that edge rusher that we would love to see? I don't think so. I think he is what he is, but here's the other part to that. He's also one of the number one run stoppers in all of football. This is the number one rated defense last year at stopping the rush. Now, take a look around the pieces that are missing here. Justin Jones at the defensive tackle and Eddie Jackson at the free safety position. And neither one of those is an enormous miss. Kevin Byard is a suitable replacement. Gervon Dexter is a suitable replacement. Now, the question is, of course, depth. Byron Cowart is on the roster right now. We also have Zach Pickens. Again, Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, both making nice second-year advances, in my opinion, will be better served this year. Now, there will be some depth issues, I do think. There's not too many injuries that we can have before this sort of collapses. Now, I did also put 12 men on the field because I have edge rusher Austin Booker pulled in from Kansas in the NFL draft, and I do think that he will start to get some play time. They will want to get him up to speed to create some pressure on quarterbacks, and he's a phenomenal athlete, a freak of nature, if you will. So, are the Bears better on offense? 100%. Are they better on defense? I would like to say yes. I mean, let's just if we just go down the list and say we have the number one rushing defense and the number 25 passing defense. Now, is the number 25 passing defense better? Is Jalen Johnson going to continue to perform at a high level? I'll tell you what, he took a pay cut in order to make this happen over what he could have gotten in the open market. So I think he wants to prove himself, and he wants to, with a 4-year contract, he wants to get back on that market for one final big payday. So I do think that he's going to put in the work. Tyreek Stevenson should have an enormous upgrade from year 1 to year 2. Same for Gervon Dexter. Same for Zach Pickens as a backup. But other than that, Kevin Byard, suitable replacement. Again, going around the list here, what's not to like in this lineup? There's nothing out here that screams that we're going to have a problem in any way. And by virtue of being together a little bit longer and by virtue of having some time to get acclimated to the way the Bears do business, even with the new coach in Eric Washington, Matt Eberflus is still going to be calling the defensive plays. Thus, I think Montez Sweat only improves. Gervon Dexter only improves. Andrew Billings, DeMarcus, they all get a little bit better, and that's going to be enough to create more pressure than the Bears put on people. Now, at this point, if they can make this secondary at least a top 15. Now, as far as the skill set, it's probably top 10. But as far as results, if they can get into the top 15 while still maintaining a top 5 rushing defense, this team is now set for an enormous amount of success. But let's talk about special teams. Patrick Scales is back as the long snapper, been very reliable. But this right here, Legatron, Tory Taylor, the Australian who was drafted by the Chicago Bears, is one of the generational talents to come out of the draft. And look, he's a kicker. He's a punter. We don't take him in the first, second, third rounds. It was crazy that we took him in the fourth round, or so people wanted you to think. But here's the deal, right? The deal with this guy is he's booting the ball. He's got the strongest leg there is. He was the Iowa offense last year because he pinned so many teams deep. He gave Iowa a chance over and over again. Iowa had one of the worst offenses in all of football. Now, combine a guy like this with a situation in which we have a presumably potent offense, and that Caleb Williams will catch on very quickly. Imagine, if you will, even when we don't have a run and we get stale, and we will get stale. Imagine when we get stopped a few times and this guy comes out and he starts pinning people back inside the 10 with consistency. Or imagine we stall on the 20-yard line and we're not able to get out of enemy territory, which will happen. When that does, this guy's going to turn the field around in an incredible way. This guy is a booming punter. that will give us enormous hang time, that will give us enormous distance. This guy is a game-changing player. If Caleb Williams is as advertised, a game changer. If Roma Dunze is as advertised, a game changer. If Austin Booker is as advertised, a game changer. And if Torrey Taylor is too, then this team is suddenly a lot better than what we're giving people credit for right now. This could go down as a legendary draft for the Chicago Bears. And then finally, this is the predicted schedule for the team going into 2024. Now, we don't have all of the pieces in place. There are a few that are still to be decided. The Cardinals, the 49ers, and the Commanders. But the Titans at home in week 1. Then we've got the Texans away for Sunday Night Football. The Colts away. This should be 3 wins coming out of the gate. And the Rams, I don't think that the Rams did enough to improve themselves. And I think that the Chicago Bears improved themselves dramatically. There is a real possibility. I want to be very specific about this. There is a very real possibility that going into week 7, this is an undefeated Chicago Bears team. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, please shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I do. The Titans, are we better than the Titans? Yeah, we're better than the Titans. How do I know that? Well, I mean, if we take the time to look at the Titans and we get an idea of what the Tennessee Titans finished. They finished 6-11 last season. Did they do enough to get better? Yes. Did they do enough to get as good as the Bears? Not even close. So, with that being the case, what's the end result here? Well, the end result here, to me, Tennessee Titans, you don't stand a chance. You got no shot, baby. No shot. Is that confidence for me? Yeah, of course, because I'm not playing the game. But let's move on here. The Texans. Now, CJ Stroud against Caleb Williams, Sunday Night Football. This is going to be one of those marquee matchups for the revival, if you will, of the Chicago Bears. What's it going to look like? It's going to look like a high-scoring sort of affair, right? Maybe not. Maybe the Chicago Bears defense is going to force them into the passing game, and maybe that defense starts to step up. And this is where we start to shine. Remember, this Chicago Bears team was very close every game. There were no games where we were just absolutely decimated, other than the very first game with Green Bay and the second game against Kansas City, and then the Los Angeles Chargers. So 3 of those games were definite. We just did not come to play. But every other game at some point, we really were in. So it's a matter of finding ways to win and finding ways to improve. Ask yourself, are the Bears better? The Bears are better. If that's the case, a lot of those are going to become wins in the next season. So the Colts, we're going to take the Colts down. What do the Colts look like? I mean, this is pretty simple. The Indianapolis Colts were 9-8 last year, better than the Bears. But look at this, the differential over here, -19. What was the Bears differential? -19. So, let's just say that they won a few games that they should not have won, and they came away and did just a little better than the Bears in this regard. If that's the case, then this is a slam dunk because the Bears improve dramatically. Indianapolis Colts, did they improve dramatically? No, they did not improve dramatically. But let's go back over here. Then we've got the Panthers and the Jaguars. Sweep. Panthers and the Jaguars, neither one of those have been a very great team so far. Panthers, of course, gave us the number 1 overall. Jacksonville, they were +6 last season, but ended up 9-8. Again, it's another team where did they do enough to get way, way better? No, they did not do enough to get way, way better. And as you can see over here, 9-18. And then Carolina, of course, we're not even going to bother looking up Carolina, but they were the worst team in the league, and that's why we got the number 1 overall selection. So then we get a bye week. Then we've got 8 and 9. Now these 8 and 9, this is where it gets real difficult for the Chicago Bears. This is where if the 49ers come in, probably a loss. Probably going to be a loss. Then week 9, maybe a little bit of redemption with the Cardinals or the Commanders. And then you have week 10, the Patriots at home, then the Packers at home. And this is our first opportunity at this point right now. This is where it's going to get real interesting because this is our opportunity to finally get the Packers on the field, ready to go. Can we beat the Packers finally after a long stretch of losing? That's going to be the question. Now, if not, and I don't think that we will, I think that the Packers probably still have our number, even though I think we're improved dramatically. But then you have the Vikings, then you have the Lions, then you have a to be decided, which is going to be, again, the Cardinals, the 49ers, or the Commanders. So what you have are the makings of a really good start to a season. So coming into week 11, you could in fact see the Bears going into the Packers game with only one loss. You could literally see the 49ers being one of those, either week 8 or week 19, being the only loss on this schedule. Now, I'm giving a lot of credit to the Chicago Bears at this point, and I know some of you are not going to want to do that, but listen, I'm right and you're not. I guess that's all I can really say. The Chicago Bears are going to be much better than what you're giving them credit for being. So, again, so we go into the Lions. We're going to beat the Lions. We're going to beat the Vikings. We're going to sweep the Vikings. We're going to sweep the Lions. This is a 4-2 team in the NFC North, with the two losses potentially being the Packers, who were again playing on week 18 at the end of the season. Now, look, all we have to do is win one of those games, in my opinion, and we're going to win the NFC North. Just one of those games. Or if the Packers just lose against either the Vikings or the Lions. If I'm just giving the games, if I'm giving the games to the Packers, then this is the end result. And I do think we're going to beat the Packers at least one of these games. Now, Vikings, Lions, no chance. No chance. The Bears have improved dramatically. They have improved slightly. JJ McCarthy, he's going to be a rookie like Caleb Williams. The question is, how good will he be? Justin Jefferson, take nothing away from the Minnesota Vikings, but they're not, I don't think, anymore on the level of the Chicago Bears. This come up that we're having right now is, I think, dramatic, and I think we're going to see it play out. Also, Lions got lucky to win a game last year. We dominated them 3 weeks after losing to them, despite being up 26-14, by the way, 26-14, and we end up losing that game by giving up 2 touchdowns and a safety at the end of the game. Well, that guy's not here anymore, so we're not going to have stalled offenses constantly in the second half anymore. Neither one of those guys are here. So to close it out, Seattle should be an easy win. So, what we're looking at this point is the Chicago Bears are lined up to have an incredible run this year. They're lined up to win a lot of football games. Will they win those games? I don't know. It's early. Anything can happen along the way, but it is my belief that in the current structure, with little injuries of note, that the Chicago Bears are a 13-win team, that they're going to win, and they're going to win big. And we're going to be very shocked by the dynamic nature of this team going forward. And we're going to feel really good about it. Now, does that mean we're going to get to the Super Bowl? I might not like to. Are we going to? Probably not. We're probably not there yet, but we are getting closer. So, and then here's the rest of it. In the event that the Bears get into the playoffs, in the event that the Bears get that first round bye, or if the Bears are playing in that first round and we're on a roll, if we're still getting better as the season closes out, then guess what? The Bears will win a playoff game. Will they win a playoff game to get into the championship game? I don't know. It's going to depend on the matchup. What we have to consider at this point is the Bears do not have the, I want to call it, pedigree of a champion. It's going to take some playoff feel. You're gonna have to feel it out. Can we win? Yes. Will we win? That's going to be tougher. So I don't know the answer to those questions. I know what I think. I think they're going to go 13-4, and I know I'm going to stick with that right now. And by the way, that doesn't matter to me whether Tyson Bagent is the quarterback or Caleb Williams is the quarterback, or if we bring in Ryan Tannehill and we get rid of Brett Ripien, which I did hear was part of it. If we bring in Agba at the defensive end position, maybe that's a good get, but now it becomes a crowded room. I don't like that. I like DeMarcus Walker in that position. I don't think that we're upgrading in any appreciable way by bringing in somebody else. I think that this team is ready to rock. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, check out some of the videos. We've done a lot of content on Rome Odunze. We've done a lot on Caleb Williams, and certainly go check that out. But in the meantime, bear down. Remember, 13-4. And save this video because we're going to be talking about this for a long time. Bear down. We'll talk.